Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're kicking off with something pretty incredible. Just thinking about the journey of, well, you,
It really is amazing when you stop and think about it.
right, from literally a single cell to this complex person listening right now. And your brain, it started forming at just 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
Unbelievable. And then the senses start coming online, hearing around week 20, sight by 28, even smell by week 30.
But the part that controls, like, our judgment and planning, the prefrontal cortex, that takes ages. It's not fully cooked until your late 20s.
Which really highlights that development, adaptation. It's a lifelong thing. It doesn't just stop.
Exactly. And that lifelong journey is what we're diving into today. We're looking at pathways to a flourishing later life, successful aging.
Yeah, our mission here is to pull out the really crucial stuff, the insights into what actually makes for a rich, rewarding life as we get older.
And we've got a great mix of sources, deep science, psychology studies, even some cool historical bits.
The idea is to give you a shortcut, really, a way to get well-informed about maximizing your potential, not just later, but all through life. We've found some surprising facts and definitely some actionable things you can use.
Okay, so let's start with the brain itself. The scale is just mind-blowing. An adult brain. Around 85 billion neurons.
85 billion.
Yeah.
And the whole body has something like 10 trillion cells, each one carrying your DNA.
And the DNA part is wild, too. We share 99% of our DNA with chimps. Makes you think, right?
It absolutely does. That 1% difference plus environment and everything else makes all the difference. But speaking of changes over time, the brain itself isn't static.
Right. Things shift as we age.
Yeah, after about 35, the brain's volume starts to gradually shrink a bit, maybe
Right.
5% a decade up to age 60 or so.
And the chemicals change, too, like dopamine.
Exactly. Dopamine, involved in motivation and reward, might drop about 10% per decade. And serotonin, for mood, also tends to decline. These are, general trends.
And I read something fascinating in the sources about myelin, the insulation.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. Myelin is like the fatty coating on electrical wires,
Yeah.
but for your neurons. After age 50 or so, it can start to decay.
So the signals don't travel as fast?
Precisely. It reduces the electrical conductivity. Things just slow down a bit mentally because the connections, the synapses, become less efficient. It's a gradual process.
Which kind of leads into genetics and how long we live, doesn't it? Like telomeres?
It does. Telomeres are these protective caps on the ends of our DNA strands. Think of the plastic tips on shoelaces.
Okay.
Each time a cell divides, those telomeres get a tiny bit shorter. And the research pretty strongly links shorter telomeres to, well, dying younger.
So lifestyle could impact how fast they shorten.
That's the implication, yes. Then you have specific genes, like APOE. Certain versions of that gene significantly bump up the risk for dementia and late-onset Alzheimer's.
And the Alzheimer's stats are pretty sobering, especially for women.
They really are. About 60% of patients are women. And a woman's odds of getting Alzheimer's are now higher than her odds of getting breast cancer. It's stark.
Wow. And what actually happens in the brain with AD?
You see significant shrinkage, especially in the hippocampus, that's critical for memory and also the outer cortex. And then there are these proteins, amyloids.
The plaques.
Right, they form plaques, but they also actively destroy synapses, those communication points between neurons. It's devastating.
But even with all that, there's still potential within our cells, right? Stem cells.
Absolutely. Stem cells are amazing. They're like blank slates that can become different types of cells. And a few years back, in 2017, there was a breakthrough.
I think I remember this.
Scientists figured out how to create stem cells directly from adult skin cells. It opens up huge possibilities for understanding regeneration.
So when you put it all together, genes, brain structure, environment, culture.
Our sources call it an intricate four-way dance. It's never just one thing determining how we develop or age.
And that dance starts super early.
Incredibly early. Things like childhood socioeconomic status have a profound impact on how the brain develops. Prenatal factors, how parents interact with their kids, cognitive stimulation at home. It all matters.
And stress on parents plays a role, too.
Definitely. The type of care a mother provides can actually change the chemistry of her child's DNA related to stress response. So parents dealing with major stress, like poverty or mental illness, can, unintentionally affect their child's brain chemistry and resilience down the line.
It really makes you think about how interconnected everything is. Now, speaking of things being sort of fixed, William James, the philosopher, thought personality was set in plaster by your 20s or 30s.
Yeah, that was the old thinking. But thankfully, the evidence now points completely the other way.
We can change.
Oh, absolutely. Behavior change can happen rapidly at any age. Infancy and old age are actually peak times for it. One study found 75% of personality traits changed significantly after age 40 and even way past 60.
That's huge. It basically underpins all of modern therapy, right?
Exactly. The whole idea that we can grow and adapt throughout our lives.
So what about that old debate, character versus circumstances? Booker T. Washington said character makes the person. Emerson said circumstances can't fix character.
Right, those are strong statements.
Yeah.
But the sources suggest a more nuanced view. It seems we're actually less shaped by fixed character traits than we might think.
And more by.
More by the circumstances life throws at us, and crucially, how we respond to them. Things like resilience, grit, gratitude. Those responses seem to matter a lot.
So genes play a part in personality, but they aren't destiny.
Precisely. Genes give you tendencies, constraints maybe, but they don't dictate everything. Think of them like a rough script with only general themes.
And culture and opportunity fill in the details.
Exactly. Culture, opportunity, circumstances, they all influence how that genetic script gets interpreted. We know things like testosterone levels influence personality, and those are affected by genes and culture and opportunity. There's even a specific gene, SLC6A4, linked to temperament.
And temperament develops into personality.
Yeah, as kids grow, experience things, develop values, attitudes, ways of coping, that initial temperament evolves into what we call personality.
It's much more dynamic than set in plaster. Okay, let's shift to memory. The sources say our own life story, our autobiographical memory is, well, kind of unreliable.
Yeah, prone to huge distortions is how one source put it. It's not like a video recording.
It's more like a story we keep editing.
That's a great way to put it. It's a goal-oriented system. We subconsciously tweak memories to fit the narrative we have about ourselves. Compelling stories we hear can corrupt our memories. Even our mood when we recall something can change it.
And our brain just fills in the gaps.
Often, yes. With logical guesses, things that should have happened. Memory isn't a single file somewhere. It's a process, distributed across neural circuits, relying on synaptic plasticity, the ability of connections to change.
And attention is key for actually making memory stick.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
The prefrontal cortex manages attention. Distraction, stress, they're the enemies of including new memories properly.
It makes that Colonel Sanders story even more amazing. Started KFC at 62, totally broke.
Right. At a time when his life expectancy was only a few more years.
And then becomes a millionaire. His later success completely changed the meaning of all the struggles before.
It's a perfect illustration of how later events reshape the narrative of earlier ones. We constantly reinterpret our past based on our present.
Okay, what about intelligence? The sources say there isn't even total agreement on what it is.
True. It's complex. But a useful definition is the ability to apply knowledge in new ways, make connections, adapt to changing environments.
So not just book smarts.
Not just book smarts. And here's the interesting part about aging. Fluid intelligence, the ability to think quickly and solve novel problems, that tends to decline gradually.
Okay, that's the stereotype.
But practical intelligence, the kind you use for real-world problems, navigating complex situations that often increases with age. It can peak after 50 or 60. Abstract thinking can get better, too.
So wisdom isn't just a myth.
It's not at all. Wisdom, defined as knowledge useful for life problems, really grows from experience, seeing patterns, making analogies, and crucially,
Yes.
life challenges are often the catalyst for wisdom. Overcoming difficulties, having meaningful interactions, that's where it comes from.
It's not just about IQ then. I remember reading about Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences.
Right, the idea that there are different kinds of smarts. IQ tests often miss things, especially creativity. Think of that classic thinking outside the box puzzle.
The 9 dots.
Exactly. Don't impose limits that aren't there.
Yeah.
And then there's EQ, emotional intelligence, understanding and managing emotions.
But the sources highlighted something else too, CQ.
Ah, yes. Curiosity quotient. This one's fascinating. Some research suggests CQ predicts life success even better than IQ or EQ sometimes.
Curiosity. Really?
Yeah. Being curious seems protective against aging. It links to a growth mindset, believing you can develop abilities, and keeps you intrinsically motivated. Keeps you engaged with the world.
Curiosity as an anti-aging strategy. I like that. Okay, let's dive into emotions and stress. The sources say emotions are basically neurochemicals.
In a way, yes. Over 50 different hormones and neurochemicals are involved. When you feel stressed, cortisol surges.
Then that's bad.
In excess, yes. It suppresses your immune system, lowers libido, slows digestion. But positive engagement does the opposite, boost mood chemicals like serotonin and dopamine, even strengthens immune cells.
So it's about balance, homeostasis.
Well, homeostasis is about staying the same. A better concept might be allostasis, stability through change, adapting to challenges.
But too much challenge, too much stress.
Leads to allostatic load. It's wear and tear on your system from being constantly stressed, like revving an engine too high for too long.
And social support helps buffer that.
Massively. It's a strong predictor of lower allostatic load. Conversely, high cortisol from stress early in life is linked to shrinkage in the hippocampus, that memory center.
So how we cope with setbacks is really key.
It absolutely is. Genes, culture, environment all play a role in whether we build resilience or, struggle more when things get tough.
And for depression, which affects so many people,
About 15% of Americans, the sources say. While there are biological factors, antidepressants often have limited success, maybe 20% effectiveness.
and rumination, getting stuck in negative thoughts, is a big factor.
A huge factor. The most effective way to break that cycle. Positive discretion. Get absorbed in something else. Exercise, meditation, nature, helping someone.
Which brings us to happiness. It's so subjective, right?
Totally subjective, varies person to person, culture to culture, often based on comparing ourselves to others.
And happy people don't think about being happy.
Huh. Yeah, there's that idea. Too busy doing things and being happy to stop and think about it. Like
Right.
lottery winners often aren't much happier a year later. The initial buzz wears off.
Interesting. And the East-West difference.
Western view often sees happiness, misery as opposites. Eastern views, like yin-yang, see them as more interconnected, part of a whole.
And America's happiness ranking slipped a bit.
Yeah, hashtag 19 in 2019. Based on things like GDP, social support, healthy lifespan, freedom, generosity, trust. But a common thread seems to be that successful, maybe happier, people see problems as challenges to tackle.
So linking this all together, Freud said love and meaningful work were key.
Foundational, yes. The Dalai Lama adds compassion. Making others happy brings you the most benefit.
And Vicente Fox said, being for others is the shortcut.
It keeps coming back to connection, doesn't it?
It really does. Which leads right into one of the biggest takeaways for a flourishing later life. Social connection. The sources are blunt. Loneliness kills.
It's stark, but the evidence is there. Loneliness is linked to almost every major health problem.
Then it's not the same as just being alone, right? Isolation versus loneliness.
Crucial distinction. Isolation is objective, how many contacts you have. Loneliness is subjective, that feeling of being detached, misunderstood, even in a crowd.
And it actually changes your brain chemistry.
Yes. Loneliness can reduce glutamate, which is vital for brain signaling. It ramps up the stress axis, the HPA axis. It can even hijack circuits related to fear and aggression and change the size of brain areas like the putamen.
Wow. So culture matters too, like encouraging interaction versus solitary screen time.
Seems likely. The bottom line from the source is, your brain was built for the very purpose of social engagement, and good relationships protect your brain.
Okay, so we have all this amazing information. What do we do with it? How do we put it into practice? Groucho Marx joked about getting old.
Just live long enough.
Right. And Eleanor McCobie wished she'd taken better care of herself.
We can learn from that.
Absolutely. And the sources offer a really helpful framework. Remember the acronym COACH?
Coach. Yeah. Right. COACH.
C for curiosity, O for openness, A for associations, C for conscientiousness, and H for healthy practices. It's a great roadmap.
Okay, let's break it down. Associations, that's the social piece again. Exactly. Keep your social circle vibrant, mix with younger people, seek out new connections. People with strong social ties were 60% less likely to get dementia in one study.
Wow, 60%.
Yeah, and hang out with people who encourage you, who help you grow.
Yeah.
And related to that, maybe rethink retirement.
Don't just stop. When I rest, I rust.
That's the idea. In places with mandatory retirement, people often lose that sense of purpose, which could be really detrimental.
Okay, so associations. What about curiosity and openness? That links to cognitive health.
Directly. First, mindset. Try not to think of yourself as old. Look forward. Keep learning. Keep experiencing new things. Challenge yourself.
To build new brain connections. Plasticity.
Exactly. Enhance synaptic plasticity. Maybe even encourage neurogenesis, growing new neurons. Appreciate the cognitive strengths you do have, which might be different than when you were younger, but still powerful.
And conscientiousness and healthy practices. That covers a lot. Exercise.
Definitely. Get moving, preferably in nature. We aren't built to sit still all day. Remember that quote. Exercise is the best analgesic.
By a wide margin, because it boosts natural pain reliever.
Your body's own opioids, yeah.
Yeah.
Engaging experiences, physical activity, they literally make you feel better.
Okay, exercise. What else under Talati lie? Healthy practices. Sleep.
Crucial. Aim for 8 hours of quality sleep. Keep a regular schedule. Sleep is when your body and brain do major repair and cleanup work.
And nutrition. This seemed like a big focus in the sources.
Huge. The advice is pretty consistent. Eat less overall. Focus heavily on plants. Get lots of fiber oats, barley, beans, apples, citrus, you name it.
Healthy fats too. Fish, seeds, nuts.
Yes. Fatty fish, chia, flax, hemp seeds, walnuts. Load up on cruciferous veggies, broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts. And superfoods like blueberries, sweet potatoes.
And the big don'ts?
Cut way back, or ideally stop processed foods, added sugar, excess salt, and red meat. That came through loud and clear.
And this connects to the gut-brain thing.
Absolutely. The gut-brain interaction is critical. Keep your gut microbiome healthy. Prebiotics, probiotics might help, though check the quality.
Because most serotonin is in the gut.
A staggering 90%.
Yeah.
So your gut bacteria have a massive impact on your mood, your mental well-being. Diet can change your microbiome really quickly.
Okay, now, the sources also touched on some newer, maybe more controversial things. Emerging avenues.
Right. They mentioned things neutrally, like NAD plus a form of vitamin B3 being explored for anti-aging, but also cautioned about drugs just masking problems and the risks of polypharmacy, taking too many medications, especially for older adults.
And psychedelics.
Mentioned briefly, LSD, psilocybin, showing some promise in studies for loneliness, depression, maybe lasting effects, microdosing for creativity or mood, ketamine for short-term depression relief,
Stimulants, hormones.
Adderall, nicotine mentioned for cognitive enhancement, but obviously with major risks, testosterone, estrogen therapy being looked at for focus, memory, again, areas needing much more research and caution.
And some natural compounds, neuroshroom, bacopa.
Yeah, neuroshroom for immune and brain health support, bacopa for memory. It's a rapidly evolving field. Lots of claims out there, need to be discerning.
So, bringing it back to the core, gratitude came up again.
Yes, positive psychology shows gratitude genuinely makes people happier. Religion often fosters this through prayer, but also provides those vital social networks and purpose.
And that quote about hatred.
Hatred corrodes the container in which it is carried. Powerful reminder to let go of negativity for your own well-being.
And finally, creativity through connection, like Da Vinci and Ben Franklin.
Walter Isaacson's point, yeah. The best ideas often spark when different minds connect, interact, cross-pollinate. Build your own letter apron club.
Wow. We've covered so much ground. From that single cell to all these pathways for a better later life.
It really boils down to quality and meaning, doesn't it? Not just adding years, but adding life to those years.
It's this complex dance, biology, environment, relationships, and the choices we make.
And that idea that later events can change the meaning of earlier ones. It's all about the story we tell ourselves, the meaning we create.
So the question for everyone listening is, what story are you writing for your own flourishing later life? How are today's choices shaping the meaning of everything that came before?
And maybe one final thought to leave you with. Who are you passing your torch to? What legacy of connection and meaning are you building?